Hi, and welcome everybody. My name is Dennis Brown, and this is my weekly Freight Broker Bootcamp live training. Today, I'm going to share with you the best place to market your freight brokerage for free. Yes, absolutely free, right? It doesn't cost you a dime. I'm gonna pull that apart. We're going to talk all about that today. So I'm excited that you are here. Thank you so much. If you're catching this on replay, hit me up in the comments with hashtag replay. I love to hear from my replay folks. And I think the tech is working good. I had a little bit of a blip earlier. If you guys are having any issues, let me know, but I think we should be good. As you're joining the stream, hit me up in the comments with the city and state you're logging in from. I'll try to do some shout outs before we get started. So here's what we're going to do. Today, we are going to do the training. We're going to talk about the best place to market your freight brokerage for free. Then we're going to go, we'll probably do a free giveaway, maybe a t-shirt or some cash. We'll do a quick giveaway, and then we will jump into live Q&A as always at the end. You got to stick around to the end, and you have to hold your questions until I tell you to put them in the comments. Otherwise, you're going to get lost in the stream, lost in the feed, and I'll never, ever see them. And if I don't see them, I can't answer them. I can't help you. Okay. So hold tight on the questions. Thank you so much. Let's do some quick shout outs. We've got some people joining the stream now. We got Connor, as always, from Armenia. We got Igor from Seattle. We got Harvey Roberts from Arkansas. We got Cynthia Moore from Maryland. Jomo Mighty from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. We've got Kapil. We've got Jonathan. We've got Jonathan, who's from Boston, Mass. Next Links from Valley Stream, New York. So we got a bunch of people that are joining the stream. We're going to give it a few more minutes just before we dive into the training. But again, just to kind of rehash, I mean, I've definitely got some notes here, and I'm excited to share this with you because this strategy is so underutilized. Okay. And again, it's absolutely free. Literally, you could start what I'm going to teach you. You could start today. You don't need to have any special background. You don't have to have any special crazy training. You don't need to spend any money. You don't need a subscription to anything. It doesn't cost you anything. So you guys can absolutely start leveraging this right away. And that's one of the reasons why I'm excited about it. And it's so underutilized. I mean, very few people are taking advantage of the opportunity anywhere in the world, let alone in the freight brokerage, freight agent, logistics industry, trucking industry. So yeah, as you guys are joining here, again, hit me up in the comments so we can do some quick shout outs. All right, we've got Annette from Charlotte, North Carolina, Sandra from Mississippi, Zoran from Macedonia. We have Mael from Long Beach, Luke Thornton from Moses Lake, Washington, Kirsten Anderson from Texas. Is Dennis on or am I having Harvey? I think you're having tech issues, buddy, because I think we're good to go. I think everybody's hearing me. So if we're having, that's you, you're on, Harvey, you're on YouTube. I think you might be having some tech issues, buddy. Patricia from West Palm. So we got a lot of people that have joined us live. And again, I've got a lot of information to go over today. Let me just grab a quick drink. And then I got to set this up really quick just so that we're real seamless. Hold on one second. We're going to get ready and we're going to start in just 1 minute. Give me 1 second. Oops. Sorry. That was a mistake. Sorry, give me a minute. We're going to start in just 1 minute. Give me just a minute, okay? I'm trying to navigate. I got to show you guys some examples here. Guess I probably should have done this beforehand. All right. We'll figure it out on the fly. Okay. So we got a few more people that have joined us. We got Stacy from Brunswick, East Brunswick, New Jersey. Mandatory Management from Texas. Kelly Porte from Arizona. We got Ellie Klein from Brooklyn. We got Matthew Lopez from Spokane, Washington. Thank you so much for joining me. Listen, we're going to get started. Today, I want to share with you what I consider to be the best place to market your freight brokerage for absolutely free. Costs you absolutely zero. Now, there are tons of places you can market your business online, right? But the fact of the matter is, they're not all free. Some of them require very specialized training, and some of them require subscriptions or software in order to do it. So today, the place that I'm going to share with you that's most near and dear to my heart, and that I think is so underutilized by B2B marketers in general, but mainly by the freight brokerage, logistics, and trucking industry, is LinkedIn. Yes, you probably guessed it. LinkedIn, in my opinion, is the most underutilized platform online today. And the fact of the matter is, you can start, building your network and marketing your business absolutely free without a subscription, without any special training, and you can literally start it today. I'm going to share with you some examples of things that you can start doing today. And I'm actually going to share some people that I'm connected with on LinkedIn that are doing a really great job so that I can show you real life examples of how other people are using LinkedIn to market their business, create awareness, start dialogues, and yes, get shipping customers through LinkedIn. Okay. So I'm going to give you a few stats before we get started on why you might want to pay attention and lean in when it comes to LinkedIn. All right. First of all, the most recent stat from LinkedIn is that they have over 950 million users worldwide in over 200 countries. Okay. So they have a vast, vast network. LinkedIn is like the most prominent, well-known B2B social network, right? It's a business social network. It's different than Facebook, that people aren't talking about what they ate for breakfast or posting vacation pictures or wedding pictures or, a night out on the town. It's all about business. It's all about relationships in business. And so there are over 950 million users worldwide. Now, I joined LinkedIn back in 2008, right? That was a really long time ago. And when I joined back then, I think there were around 10 million users when I first joined. But anyway, a few more stats. 16% of LinkedIn users log in every day, and 48% of LinkedIn users log in at least once per month. So it's very active, right? It's different than Facebook. It's different than Twitter. It's different than TikTok, because it's meant for business. So it's used differently. But the fact is, the users on LinkedIn are very, very active. All right. And the last stat I want to share with you is 4 out of 5 LinkedIn users help to drive business decisions. They are either business decision makers or influencers in that decision. So it is what I call a target rich environment. Okay. There are lots of shippers in all kinds of different industries and all kinds of different niches that are on LinkedIn active, logging in daily, weekly, or monthly. That's why I think it is the number one place for freight brokers and freight agents to go to market their business. Yes, of course, you want to have a website. But the fact of the matter is, if you set up a website today, it could be the greatest website in the world. It could be absolutely beautiful, perfect, well-designed, and amazing. But the fact of the matter is, when you publish that website online, nobody knows it's there. Google will eventually index it. The other search engines will eventually index it. But that doesn't mean anybody's going to see drive traffic to your site. So the thing is that yes, you have to have it, because if anybody searches for you online, you have to have a website. The big advantage to LinkedIn is that they have a built-in customer base. They have a built-in traffic. So the two things that you have to do with LinkedIn that I'm talking about today, right? Specifically today, is number one, you got to set up a personal profile. and a business profile. Those are two separate things. You want to set up a personal and business profile for your business. It's absolutely free, costs you nothing. You don't have to subscribe. You don't have to do anything, okay? There's no cost for that. The second thing I want to share with you today, which is really where you can start building an audience, having conversations with your target market, and start really building your business, is by publishing and posting content daily, weekly, or monthly. My suggestion is you're posting daily or weekly, at least one time a week, if not daily, right? So I'm going to share with you some people that I follow that are either past students or friends or connections of mine that are freight brokers that are posting content on a regular basis and using that to actually build their network, actually build their business, actually get customers and start relationships with customers, carriers, agents, and the whole nine. Okay. So I'm going to share with you that really quickly. Let me see if I can pull this up, and I'm going to share with you some people that I think are doing an absolutely great job. All right. So, and this gentleman, which you guys probably might recall, let me see. Am I sharing here? Let me just make sure I'm doing this. I apologize. I got way too many windows open, apparently. Hold on. Let's see. Okay, great. All right, here we go. All right, so this gentleman's name is Jason Rabine. Jason Rabine. I apologize. Jason, I had Jason on my Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. We had a great discussion. I interviewed him about his business, how he's growing his business with an agent network. And I just wanted to share with you what Jason does daily to give you some examples of how you can start publishing content on LinkedIn. So here's an example. This is Jason. This is his post. He posted 49 minutes ago. He did a post. Not all freight guards are created equal. The actual I actually read ones that have been submitted when vetting a new carrier. So he did a little bit of a micro blog. He posted this 49 minutes ago. He's got 39 likes, 15 comments, and 1 repost. Now, Jason's used content and his mainly content to build a following of over 11,373 different people on LinkedIn. So he's been doing this for a while, but I wanted to share this with you because he posts content pretty much every day, sometimes multiple times per day. But he posts a lot of text-based content. He posts, he'll also post some images. You can see here, he posts every single day, 72 different likes, 18 comments. He's got this one that has 77 likes and 30 comments. See, this is what you call engagement. He's not out there beating people over the head with his pitch, begging them to do business with him. He's not out there trying to sell people. He's out there sharing content, sharing his expertise, sharing what's going on in his head and in his business as a way to develop a relationship, right? He creates awareness by posting it. And you can see here that he gets tons of reach. And then he develops a relationship through the content, through the comments, and through, ongoing follow-up based upon where those relationships evolve. So you can see here, Jason posts pretty much every single day. He gets a ton of content, engagement. And I know that he's used this not only to generate shippers for his business, but he's also used this to bring on new carriers. And he's also used this as a way to recruit and hire agents because he has an agent business model. So that's one example I want to share with you really quick. The next example is a gentleman. I think I just want to make sure it's showing up on the screen here. It's not. Let me pull it up. Okay, give me 1 minute. Okay, the next gentleman's name is Stephen Title. Stephen is another gentleman who's a freight broker. He goes by hashtag Papa Freight. That's something that he's used. He's a U.S. Air Force veteran, builder of relationships and logistics and supply chain, blue collar, white glove owner operator. Okay, so he's a freight broker, and he uses content every single day. You can see here he posted something a couple of hours ago. It's starting to get engagement. It's got 6 likes and some comments. He posted this the other day. He likes to use a lot of images, which I've noticed he uses imagery quite a bit. He's posting things that are relevant to his business. He's posting things that help him develop rapport and relationship with his target market. So these are examples of the types of posts. And again, I would highly recommend you guys check them out. You can check out Jason Rabine and Stephen Title's profile, and you can actually go through and look at the type of content. This one here, he posted an example of a shipment. Had 22 likes and 1 comment. What he's doing is he's using LinkedIn to build an audience of over 6,623 different contacts. Now, a lot of them are in the logistics space, either on the shipper side, maybe on the warehousing side, on the trucking side. Some of them are probably not in logistics at all, right? But the fact of the matter is, he has taken advantage of LinkedIn by leveraging content on a daily, weekly basis to develop relationships and rapport. And I don't know if Stephen, maybe he could chime in the comments if he does eventually see this, if he's actually gotten customers through LinkedIn, but my gut says that he's using this as a way to develop relationships with not only shippers, but also with carriers and potential employees that can work for his business. So that's the second example. Let me share one more. Okay, give me 1 minute. Hold on 1 second, guys. Sorry for the delay here. And the other one that I'm going to share with you today is actually a gentleman who's in the audience today. He's someone who's been a student of my program. He's an avid follower. He's pretty much on all of these lives. And, I know that he's using LinkedIn as a way to grow his business. His name is Connor Hartunian. Connor is an agency owner, heavy haul, overwide, over dimension manager, open deck loads. I'm a vendor for number 1 company in their niche. And then he's using LinkedIn. He's built a network of over 2,451 different contacts using content on LinkedIn. You can see here, he posts different things, whether it be little micro blogs, whether it's, some funny images or content related to that. But the thing that he does really, really well that I love that he does is he posts examples of the types of shipments that he moves, right? So he posts things about heavy haul and overwide and overdimensional type loads. You can see here, he posted something about the convoy debacle, right? Which is relevant contextual news, right? Because that had a big impact on shippers. He's posting, videos, images, very compelling images that are very specific to what he does, right? And so I think he's doing a really great job. He's posting daily. He's posting on a regular basis, at least multiple times a week. And he's built a great audience doing that. So I wanted to share with you guys some examples of how freight brokers are leveraging LinkedIn to build a network and build connections and start conversations with shippers, carriers, and potential agents or employees that could work for them. Here's the thing. Here's what you have to understand. I made the parallel a little bit ago about you setting up a website as a startup. And that website sits in cyberspace and nobody knows about it unless you drive traffic to it. Well, guess what? Connor and Jason and Steven joined LinkedIn, built a small network, started posting content, and it immediately started getting hundreds, if not thousands of views, comments, likes, and engagements. And that led to people following them. And they did that all for free. Now, does it take time? Yes. But I can tell you that if you sat down for 15 minutes every day and you start posting content like that, you're going to be amazed how quickly you can start building that muscle and generating that skill. But secondly, being able to build real connections with people that are in your freight niche. Now, hold tight because I'm going to share with you. I do have a free download for you guys. I have something that I want to offer you, but it's a free download. I'm going to give you 20 different content LinkedIn post ideas. Okay. So I'm going to share with you 20 different LinkedIn post ideas. I'm going to give you some ideas of those right now. I'm going to share with you some of those ideas. But then if you want a download where you can download examples of that, download that list of different content ideas, I think that would be very, very good for you. So some of the ideas of the different types of content that you can post on LinkedIn. You can post images, right? Interesting and compelling images. Images always do really well. You can post text, which is a lot of what you saw, little micro blogs or questions or topics specific to your industry niche or something that's relevant to your target audience. You can actually do short stories. You can create a top 10 list. You can do industry insights. You can do questions. You can have thought leadership. You can share tips. You can do a comparison post. You can do, company updates, right? You can answer frequently asked questions. There's tons of things that you can do with that are content ideas that you can start using as a way to build your LinkedIn network, to start driving those conversations. Okay. So I don't want to get too long-winded, but if you guys want a copy of that free download with 20 plus LinkedIn post ideas, all you got to do is hit me up in the comments with hashtag LinkedIn post ideas, or just hit me up in the comments saying, yes, I want the LinkedIn post ideas, right? LinkedIn post ideas. Just tell me that you want the LinkedIn post ideas, and I will actually send you a link where you can actually download that absolutely free. Okay. So again, today I wanted to share with you the best place to market your freight brokerage for free. And without a doubt, hands down, no question, for whether you're a freight broker startup or you're an experienced freight broker or freight agent, you absolutely have to be on LinkedIn. You can sign up absolutely for free. You can start posting content absolutely free. You don't have to do paid ads. You don't have to have a Sales Navigator subscription. You can do that absolutely free. I've personally generated over $20 million in annual recurring revenue using LinkedIn for my freight brokerage when I owned my brokerage between 2003 and 2016. And I can tell you the opportunity is even better today because there are more shippers. LinkedIn is LinkedIn is a much better platform. They have way better tools and more people are using LinkedIn today. So that's the place where I think you should be. If you're not on LinkedIn, make sure you get there. If you guys are curious about becoming a freight broker or a freight agent and you're looking for some help, maybe you're just looking for startup help, right? You're just trying to get the ball rolling. Check out freightbrokerbootcamp.com. We've trained over 10,000 students. I've had that program since 2009. We offer a 60-day, 100% unconditional money-back guarantee. You can check that out at freightbrokerbootcamp.com. Appreciate you guys being here. If you guys enjoyed this, hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you in the next Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. All right, so for those of you that are going to stick around, I know that was a little bit jumbled because of trying to bring in the screen sharing and all that sort of stuff. But I appreciate you guys hanging tight with me because that was a little bit garbled. But yes, if you guys want a copy of that download, it's just going to be like a Google Doc download with the different post ideas that I shared with you, and probably even more than the ones that are on the list. I think there's 20 plus on the list. Just hit me up in the comments. I don't care if you're on YouTube. I don't care if you're on Facebook. I don't care if you're on LinkedIn, wherever you are. Just let me know that you want the LinkedIn post ideas. Just let me know that in the comments. And then I'll make sure that either myself or someone on my team comes back and sends you a link where you can download that for free. Okay. I didn't have it ready for this live, but I wanted to make sure I gave it to you because I know one of the things that people struggle with when it comes to posting content on any platform, in particular LinkedIn, is what type of ideas. They need ideas. That's the reason why I wanted to share with you a few examples of different brokers and people that I know that I'm connected with that are using LinkedIn and using content as a way to build a very robust network to get customers, to get carriers, and to get employees and or agents. So I would highly recommend you guys share those or follow those three people that I gave you: Jason Rabine, Stephen Title, and Connor Hartunian. Okay, so check those guys out on LinkedIn. You can connect with them. You can follow them. You can go to their profile and look at the different types of content without even connecting or following them. But yeah, I think those guys would be great resources for you. And all right, cool. So we got quite a few people who. Kaylee loves the shirt. All right. Well, I guess that means I got to give one away today. Maybe Kaylee, you'll win. All right. So listen, if you guys want a chance to win the Freightpreneur t-shirt, someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. All right. If you want a chance to win this shirt, here's all you got to do. All right. Let me think. What am I going to make you do today? I always promote the podcast. All right. All right. Here's what we're going to do. I want you to take this live, no matter where you're at. If you're on LinkedIn, if you're on Facebook, if you're on YouTube, I want you to first, you have to hit the like button right now. Unquestionably, that's number one. Hit the like button. That's the requirement. That's step one. Everybody hit the like button right now, no matter where you're at. Okay? If you don't hit the like button, you can't qualify. The second thing I need you to do, and this is the last thing I need you to do, is to share this stream. If you're on LinkedIn, hit the share button. If you're on Facebook, hit the share button. If you're on YouTube, you can click share, and maybe you can share it on Facebook, or you can share it on one of your other networks, or you can text it, or you can WhatsApp it to a few of your friends. You have to do that. I don't care where you're at, but you got to like and then share the stream, okay? And then you got to come back in here and let me know that I liked and I shared the stream on, right? If I shared it on Facebook, if I shared it on LinkedIn, if I shared it on YouTube or whatever, you got to let me know that you liked it and that you shared the stream and where you shared the stream, and then come back in the comments. And that's what I'm going to use to qualify you as someone who could potentially win the t-shirt. I'm going to give this shirt away to one person. You got to be in the US. I apologize because I only ship these things domestic. But yes, let me know. You got to like this stream no matter where you're at. A lot of you are on LinkedIn. A lot of you are on YouTube. Some of you are on Facebook. Hit the like button, share the stream, come back into the comments. Let me know where you shared it, and I'll pick one winner. And then we're going to go into live Q&A. Hold tight, because we will do live Q&A. We can talk about LinkedIn. We can talk about sales. We can talk about getting shippers. We can talk about rating. We can talk about whatever you want. We can talk about the convoy debacle, right? Whatever you guys want to talk about, we'll talk about in the Q&A. But let's see what we got. Okay. Liked and shared on Facebook. Liked and shared on LinkedIn. Shared on LinkedIn. Shared on LinkedIn. Liked it. Cool. Cynthia. Okay, cool. So you guys got to like and share in order to qualify. Okay. So you can't just hit the like button. You got to like and share. That's the requirement. All right. So we got a lot of people that are joining. We're going to take about another minute or so for people to enter the contest for the free giveaway. And then and then I'll send you this shirt. You'll get it within the next couple weeks. It takes a little bit of time to process it, and it's absolutely free for you. Okay. I've given away hundreds of these shirts. And when I say hundreds, I probably should count it. It's definitely over 200. I don't know if it's 300, but it's definitely over 200. 200 to 300 shirts I've probably given away over the years. This Freightpreneur, someone who solves problems you don't know you have in ways you can't understand. All right. Kirsten, next links, Beverly. All right. Lots of people doing it. All right, cool. All right. So this is kind of cool. I like this. And again, if you guys want that 20 different LinkedIn post ideas, make sure you put that in the comments as well, so that we can get back to you with the link so you can download that. Okay. That will be extremely helpful for you. Okay. Extremely helpful. I promise. All right. Kaylee made sure she saved on LinkedIn or shared on LinkedIn. All right, 30 more seconds. You got 30 more seconds to like this stream. Make sure you hit that like button, share the stream wherever you're at. Come back in, hit me up in the comments, and you'll get a chance to win the Freightpreneur t-shirt. And then we are going to jump into Q&A, but hold your questions. Hold your questions. Okay, please do not type your questions in yet, because if you do, I'm going to lose them. You got to understand, I have a feed that's coming from LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. So when it comes in fast and furious, and things scroll up and it gets lost. Trust me. And it's very hard to find if you don't hold, but hold your questions. All right, cool. Let's do the giveaway. We got a lot of people. Holy cow. All right, that's awesome. All right, let's do it. All right, so my very unscientific way of picking the winner is close my eyes, scroll my mouse, come down, and it is Kristen Anderson. Kristen Anderson, you are the winner of the Freightpreneur t-shirt. Liked and shared on Facebook. Congratulations. Thank you so much. Truly appreciate you being a part of the community. I'll send this shirt out to you. Here's all you got to do. You have to either connect with me on LinkedIn and then message me your full name, address, size, and that you won the live shared. You won the t-shirt giveaway, right? You just say you won the t-shirt giveaway, the Freightpreneur t-shirt giveaway. Let me know. The sizes are unisex, small, medium, large, extra large, whatever you want. And you got to do that. So you can do that on LinkedIn, or you can do it on Facebook. You can go to my Freight Broker Bootcamp Facebook page, like the page, and then message me the same thing, your name, your address, your size, and that you won the t-shirt giveaway. And I'll make sure that goes out to you within the next, as soon as you send it to me within that week, we'll process it and you'll get it within the next couple of weeks. Okay. So Kristen, congratulations. You're the winner. And thank you everybody else for playing along. Kaylee, make sure you come back. You were very close. Matter of fact, you were only one spot off from where my cursor landed on Kirsten. You were the next one down. So sorry, come back next week. Maybe you'll win. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here. Thank you, Kirsten, for playing along. Thank you, everybody. I hope you guys enjoyed the training. Now, let's jump into some Q&A. If you have questions about LinkedIn, if you have questions about Freight Broker Startup, if you have questions about Freight Broker Marketing or Freight Broker Sales or whatever it is, hit me up in the comments. Let's see. We have a little bit of time. We don't have a ton of time. I'll get to as many questions as I can. Here's what I know for sure. I will not get to all of your questions today. Okay. If I don't, maybe I'll try to come back in later and comment later in the week and reply, or come back next week, ask your questions. Very, very rarely do you come back 2 weeks in a row and I'm not able to get to your question. Okay. All right. Here's a question. Dennis, I've built initial relationships with the prospect, but he said that there is no freight to transport for now. How often should I call her and remind of myself? Okay. All right. So your question, it's a good question, because right now you've developed some rapport with a prospect. They're telling you or leading you to believe that if there was freight, they'd give you an opportunity and start moving loads for you. But right now there's currently no opportunities. And so your concern is, how quickly should I follow up? How often should I follow up? Well, here's the thing. There's no right or wrong answer, but the best answer is to ask her. Okay? Ask her, get permission from her to follow up, and ask her how often would be good. Should I follow up with you once a week? Should I follow up with you every couple weeks? Maybe once a month? What would be best for you? I don't want to step on your toes, but I obviously would love to do business with you. So the answer to that question is to ask her, use that feedback to get, number one, sales intelligence on how she feels about the follow-up. And secondly, get permission from her, because now she's telling you, yeah, follow up with me once a week, follow up with me every couple weeks. Now it's not going to be, it's going to be extremely odd if she gets mad at you or upset with you if you follow up because you asked for permission and she told you the timeline. So that would be the best answer. If she doesn't give you an answer or you can't get her back on the phone, my suggestion is probably follow up with her, once every 1 to 2 weeks. If she pushes back on that, then you might want to start following up once a month. TBD, what bulk shipment companies would you recommend for competitive LTL rates? Bulk shipment companies. I don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. I'd have to do some research on that because really I'm not sure about bulk shipment LTL. I'd have to learn a little bit more about it for LTL. So I'm not really positive. Sorry, I can't help you, TBD. Question from Tamika. Should I focus on a city or state at a time while prospecting? Well, Tamika, I'm not sure how you've identified your niche, right? Typically, there's 4 different ways to identify your niche. And one is by, equipment type, flatbed, van, reefer. The other is by industry, right? The other is by geography. And then the other is is a hybrid of 2 or more of those others. Okay. So let's say, for example, my niche was Northeast outbound van freight. So if it originated in New York, PA, all the way up through New England, and it went west or south, that was my niche. So when we were prospecting, we would identify shippers based on the industries and the geography and that we knew would be able to get loaded on a van. So the big cities that we focused in on, some of them were in New York, like Syracuse and Albany. Others were down in PA and New Jersey, like Harrisburg and Pittsburgh and some places in New Jersey, all the way up through Boston. And yes, when we would identify those shippers, we would identify them based upon those cities and states because that was part of our niche. We didn't want to call people in Seattle or Los Angeles or Dallas or Miami. We were focused on the Northeast. And so in that instance, that's how we built our list and that's how we called our prospects. So I think that you're on the right track. I'm just not sure what stage you're at or how you've developed your niche, but hopefully that helps. TBD says, what does it mean when a shipper says they use scorecard? Well, there may be some sort of software out there or something, but a scorecard basically, in my eyes, when you're talking about customer vendor relationships, is they track everything that happens in any engagement they have with you. Every tender that they send to you, every load opportunity they send to you, they track that. They track the ratio of your accept rate or your rejection rate. They track your on-time pickup and on-time delivery, right? So they track different metrics and stats associated with the service that you're providing for them. I don't know about scorecard in general, but I know that it's not uncommon for shippers to track different metrics associated with their vendors, transportation providers, freight brokers, trucking companies, right? And those are some examples of things that they might track. Kaylee asks, can you give me an example of what you would say when making the first call? Okay. So Kaylee, here's what I'm going to give you. I'm going to give you a framework. I'm not going to give you a script. I'm going to give you a framework of how you can create your own script. Okay. Which is even better. Okay. Because there is no one size fits all script that's going to work for everybody. Okay. So here's an example of the framework that would allow you to create your own script. So let's say, for example, that I was your prospect and you found me on LinkedIn. You knew my name. I was the shipping manager for XYZ Widgets. You found me on LinkedIn. You're looking at my profile. You see that I live in Buffalo. You see that my hobbies include hunting and fishing and judo. You see that I went to school at the University of Buffalo. You see I belong to certain LinkedIn groups. You see the content that I've been posting on LinkedIn, the content that I've been liking and sharing and engaging with on LinkedIn from other people. So you've gathered what I call sales intelligence. Okay. You've also gathered sales intelligence from my company website. Whatever XYZ widget company has a website, and you've went there and you've looked at the type of products that we sell. You've looked at the recent news and media. You've looked at press releases. You've looked at who the management team is, who the CEO is, who the CFO is, maybe the origin story of the company. So you've gathered some fundamental sales intelligence. You understand the company, the product, and you understand a little bit about my history. What you want to do is you want to take something interesting and compelling that you can use as a sales hook. Okay? Now, some of those sales hooks can be very personal oriented around my personal likes, hunting, fishing, sports, the Buffalo region, things that are relevant to me. Some of those could be business related, specific to my work history, specific to the niche that I'm in, specific to the type of product that I have. And what you want to do is you want to create what's called a compelling sales hook. And the reason why you want to do that is because here's the reality that you have to face and understand when cold calling. You've got about 5 seconds to make a good first impression. If you don't make a good first impression, you're pretty much making a bad first impression. And that's where a lot of people get friction, feel friction, and get a lot of rejection. If you sound like every other freight broker out there, I'm going to give you a script, what not to use that you may have heard other freight brokers say. Here it is. Hey, Callie, my name's Dennis with XYZ Logistics. Hey, we have trucks in your area pretty regularly, and I was just curious if we might be able to get a bid package or lane package to give you some rates and see if we might be able to move your freight. Do not use that pitch. That is the laziest, worst pitch that you can possibly use. 2 reasons. Number one, there's nothing in there about building rapport. There's nothing in there about relationships. And number 2, you sound just like every other schmuck out there that's smiling and dialing and just hoping to get lucky today to find a shipper who's in pain and needs a broker. That's no way to go to build a business, okay? So gather sales intelligence, use that data, use that information to formulate an intro, a pitch, a compelling sales hook to get their attention in the first 5 seconds. And then you can use that to build rapport and get another minute or two, get permission from them in the next minute or two to expand on that topic, to have a real conversation with them, have a human to human type conversation. And then that's where all the magic happens. Okay. So I hope that helps. That's more of a framework. I think, Kaylee, if you break that down and you replay this a couple times, okay, and you kind of go back through here and you take down some notes, I think that framework is going to serve you much better than me giving you just some generic sales script. But what you have to take from this is the most important part. You only get one chance to make a good first impression. And you've got about 5 seconds to do it. So don't blow it, sounding like everybody else. Remember, different is better than better. Okay? Hope that helps. Connor, you're a good man. Keep it up on LinkedIn. You're doing a great job. That's why I wanted to kind of highlight you and a few other people that I see doing a great job. Jason Rabine, Stephen Title, you. There's lots of others, but I only had time for a few today. Congrats. Tamika asks, if you're a new freight broker, how do you decide which niche when you don't have any idea about the trucking industry? Can I choose manufacturing as a niche? Well, manufacturing is probably a little too broad because that includes anything that's manufactured, which is thousands of different types of products. Okay. That wouldn't be a niche. That's very general. So you want to take manufacturing and you want to bring it down into something more narrow, right? There are lots of industries, there's oil and gas, there's food and beverage, There's import export, there's medical supplies, there's building supplies, there's textiles, there's clothing, there's computers, there's everything, everything that you see around you, right? The desk, the phone, the keyboard, this bottle of water, the lights, the drywall that's on the wall, the paint that's on that drywall, the wood that made that shelf, that sign, the electric components, everything that is around you is shipped on a truck at some point. Okay. So I can't tell you what your niche should be or is or will be, but I can tell you that if you do some research, particularly if you go and watch the video, if you go to my YouTube channel, you're on YouTube right now. If you go to my YouTube channel under my videos and you type in freight broker niche, you'll find an entire video where I'll walk you through examples of how to find your niche. And there's also a video on there, if you type niche, of mistakes when trying to find your niche. Okay. So there's 2 videos on niches on my YouTube channel that I think will really, really help you. Okay. Here's some tips to get past the gatekeeper. Number 1, know the person's name, know the shipping manager's name that you're trying to get in touch with before you hit the front desk. Okay. Now, I don't know if you're doing this face-to-face or if you're doing this over the phone and a receptionist is answering, but here, ultimately, knowing the shipping manager's first and last name will help a lot. And here's an example. I wouldn't call, if you worked for XYZ widget company, I wouldn't call up and say, hey, can I talk to Kaylee Porte in shipping? I'd say, hey, can I talk to Kaylee in shipping? I'd be very casual. I would act as if I know that person. Create some familiarity. In most cases, when you do that, they're going to either just pass you through and say, oh yeah, no problem. Here, I'm going to transfer you now. Or they might say, who's calling? Just say, oh, it's Dennis. Don't say Dennis Brown from, you just say Dennis. It becomes very familiar. Now all of a sudden they think that Kaylee knows me and I know Kaylee, and now all of a sudden they just pass you through. So that's an example of how to get through the gatekeeper. Another way to get through the gatekeeper is to make a friend of the gatekeeper, right? Now you have to figure out a way to be different there. You have to figure out a way to make a good first impression there. If you can't do that, say you've got someone who's really hardball and on gatekeeping, one of the things you can do is you can get transferred over to sales or customer service, because either way, they'll always transfer you there. Okay. They don't really screen out those calls very much, right? Because sales requires inbound calls and customer service that's their job. So you could go over to another department. You can even go over to purchasing. You could even go, there's a lot of different departments, marketing you could go to. And then what you do when you land in marketing, get the person's name, and then you let them know, say, oh, listen, they transferred me to the wrong location, the wrong department. Could you send me over to shipping or trucking or warehousing or logistics? And then a lot of times those people in those other departments won't screen you out because they don't care. They'll just transfer you directly in. So there's a couple of hacks, couple of tips, couple of ideas on how to get past the gatekeeper. I also have some training videos on my YouTube channel about getting past the gatekeeper. So check that out on my YouTube channel. And the YouTube, if you need the YouTube channel, let's see. Let me see if I got a short link here for it. I don't. Why don't I? That's so dumb. How do I not have that on here? That's so dumb. Yeah, here, I'm going to type one really quick. There it is right there, guys. YouTube.com/freight brokers. If you go to that, let's see, pull it up. YouTube.com/freight brokers. There's a ton. I've got, I don't know, it's 200 or 300 at least videos, free training videos on there. Okay. And I know that I cover a lot of these topics. So hope that helps. What are the most used titles for people responsible? I mean, decision makers, right? So shipping managers, logistics managers, transportation managers, warehouse managers. Those are probably the four most common. Okay. Those are probably the four most common. You do not need to call the VP of logistics or the VP of operations. Now, you can if you choose, but the decisions many times in most small to medium-sized companies are able to be made by a mid to low level managers on new vendors coming on. So if you have a shipping manager, warehouse manager, transportation manager, logistics manager, those are typically the titles that you're going to run into. All right, cool. All right, any last questions? I'm going to wrap it up for today. Listen, you got about a minute to type in any other questions you have, and then I will do my absolute best. Listen, here's what I know. If you guys aren't on LinkedIn, first thing you need to do, go set up a personal profile. Second thing you need to do, go set up your business profile. They're both free. The third thing you need to do is download that list or put comment in here that you want the LinkedIn post ideas list. And I will send you a link where you can download that. Then you can use that list as a source of ideas for creating content on LinkedIn and start building your network. Start building that out. Start building it. Not only builds your network, but it also builds your personal brand. It builds your authority. It builds trust in the marketplace. Okay. Trust me. And there are I'm going to tell you right now, out of all the freight brokers that are on LinkedIn, okay, I'm going to take a stab in the dark here. But of all the freight brokers that are on LinkedIn, which is tens of thousands when you figure licensed freight brokers and freight agents that work for those companies, tens of thousands of freight brokers. I'm going to tell you right now that there are probably, out of all the freight brokers on LinkedIn, I'll bet you that there are less than 100 that are posting content at least once a week. So it automatically differentiates you. It's a very small percentage of people that are posting content on LinkedIn. And the reason why they don't do it is they either don't believe it will work, or they're scared and afraid of, what people might think, or they just don't have those basic skills. And I'm giving you the how. I gave you the why. Now I'm going to give you the how with that download and these different examples of content. So make sure, if you guys are curious about that you hit me up in the comments and let me know that you want that LinkedIn post idea download. And I'll make sure that someone comes in and sends you a link where you can download that for free. I hope you, wait, let's see. Kyle, how often do you have to babysit the computer? I'm not sure, Kyle, what you mean by babysit the computer. If you're a freight broker, you are on a phone and computer pretty much all day long. That's just the way it is. Okay. And if you don't have a computer, you're operating off your phone. Say you're driving somewhere, you're out of the office. Most things you can do, most of the load boards, most LinkedIn, most of the tools that you use, you'll be able to use off your phone. But yeah, you're going to be on a phone and some form of a computer most of the time. That's how freight brokering works. It's not people are going to call me. I can be out there. It's a different business. TBD, what's the easiest niche to break into as a new freight broker? I hear drayage. The easiest niche to break into is the niche that you either have some past history with, affinity for, okay, or somebody in. Those are the easiest niches to break into. So you have past history, meaning I worked in the produce industry, so I know produce. I have a background in it. Now, I'm not saying I did, but I'm just saying an example. I have background in produce. I then target the produce industry because I have a lot of nuance and knowledge around the industry. Or I sold heavy equipment. I was a salesperson to sell heavy equipment. So I know a lot about heavy equipment. I know a lot about how it's bought and it's sold and it's transported because I was a salesperson for that. So going into heavy equipment, moving heavy equipment might be a good example, right? So there's a lot of different things, right? You worked in a restaurant, so you took shipments from different food suppliers. Maybe that's where you learned and had some hands-on or interest in. Or maybe it's a passion of yours, or maybe it's something you're just curious about or interested. The reason why I say that, and drayage can be one of those. I mean, there are so many profitable freight niches out there. It would be impossible for me to sit here and talk about all of them. But I like when somebody takes something that they already know and they parlay it, or relationships that they already have and they parlay that, or it's something that they're passionate or interested or curious about. If that's drayage, it's drayage. Tamika, LinkedIn Navigator is a great tool, but I don't think you need it when you're first starting out, and you may not ever need it. I was a LinkedIn Sales Navigator user subscriber for years and years and years. I mean, definitely over a decade. Okay. And I don't need it anymore because I don't need a lot of those advanced tools because I don't do a lot of prospecting. Right. But if you're just talking about creating content, like I've been talking about today, you don't need the Sales Navigator. Okay. So no, to take my idea that we talked about today, you do not need the Sales Navigator. Tamika, I'm sure craft supplies is a niche. I just don't know if it's a big enough niche. So this is where I want you to go watch those two videos that I talked about. The one about how to create your niche and the other one about mistakes when finding your niche. Crafts it is a niche. I'm just not sure if it's a big enough niche. Okay. Because you got to pick something that's big enough, but yet small enough. You can't do manufacturing, but then again, you can't do, coffee mugs that are created in Buffalo, New York. That's too small. I mean, I'm giving you an absurd example, right? But coffee cup companies in Buffalo, New York is way too small of a niche. But at the same time, manufacturing is too big of a niche. So you need to narrow it down. But I think those two videos will really help. Reggie, how would I set up my LinkedIn profile if I'm an owner operator and a freight agent? Well, you would just highlight the fact that you're both. Yeah. You own a freight agency and you're also an owner operator. Your owner operator experience is extremely powerful and extremely valuable for your freight agent business because you have hands-on experience with what it takes to pick up a load and deliver a load on time with no issues. You sit in the seat, you've walked on the docks, you've spoke to shippers, you've worked on pickups, deliveries, your trucks have broken down, you've dealt with inclement weather, you understand the ins and outs that most freight brokers will never know unless they sat in that seat. So I think you should use your LinkedIn profile to highlight both of those because you are both an owner operator that has a lot of experience and you're also a freight agent, and that's why you can help them. All right, guys, listen, that's going to wrap it up for today. Apologize I couldn't get to everybody's question. Truly thank you guys for being here. If you want a copy of that LinkedIn post ideas, hit me up in the comments. Make sure you do. I'll make sure you guys get a link where you can download that. I hope you guys have an awesome day. I hope you guys enjoyed the training. Make sure you hit up LinkedIn. If you're not on LinkedIn yet, make sure you sign up. Hit the like button. If you enjoyed this training, you found value, hit the like button, share the stream. I'll see you next Monday with another Freight Broker Bootcamp Live. Have an awesome day. Talk to you next week.